everybody, it's Faye and welcome back to my channel. And today's topic, we're going to get into a little bit of something that's really got me riled. Part of me was kind of a little nervous doing this because I'm afraid somebody's going to come after me. But on the other hand, I think my receipts are in order that let them come after me because I think I've done my due diligence. So the topic of the last 24 hours has been John Kuckian and the release of Kuckian cosmetics. Where to start? So I was a fan of John's back shortly after he first started. I thought he was very engaging, kind of entertaining. I liked the way that he kind of broke the wall and he seemed like he was talking to you directly. Even followed him on Snapchat, which kind of got you involved a little bit more in his everyday life. And started watching in the beginning when he was starting to talk about making cosmetics from home. Now, to kind of prove myself as to being a fan, he always used to make, I don't know if he still does, I've had him on block for almost a year now. I see none of his videos when they come up. I have one channel blocked off of my YouTube, and it's his. But he used to talk about making lollipops all the time, to the point where he sold his own line of lollipop molds that I bought off of Amazon. And see, it says lollies and not lollipops, because lollies are what we call them in the UK and not here in the US. These are absolute crap. There's 3 silicone molds in here, and there were sticks that basically the only way you could sanitize and reuse was if you bought a separate sanitizer. And I'm talking food grade sanitizer, not the stuff you put on your hands. Big difference. Anybody that works in the restaurant industry knows what I'm talking about, having to have a 3-bay sink where you wash, rinse, and then sanitize. Yeah, that type of stuff. So these molds, little silicone flippy molds. In fact, this one still has a little bit of chocolate on it right here. First problem is that you can't pick them up and move them unless you've got them on a tray, and then stuff still spilled everywhere. You've got the issue with the sticks. I had to buy separate sticks, and they don't want to come out, and they're junk. I mean, I didn't pay that much for them, but still, I was that into him that I bought the molds to kind of help support him, which I have this problem that's becoming more evident to me, is that when I like somebody or what they're doing, I tend to try to help support them financially as well. My social repose video will kind of outline that, and that's still in the works. So I was a fan, and I bought the molds. I was watching his Snapchat stories. In fact, there was one a while back, probably, well, it's been over a year, where he had the hots for the pizza delivery guy, and he finally asked the pizza delivery guy for come over and hang out, and they played a game, and he thought that he was gonna get some, and this guy is very into girls. So yeah, that's about the time frame that all this went down, that I basically walked away. And the reasons I walked away were because things weren't making sense. His stories weren't adding up. He seemed like he was constantly trying to get money from people. Nobody knew where that money was going. He was talking about needing a new laptop, and I think somebody ended up buying him one. And this was before the days of Patreon too. So I don't like it when people beg for money. If I'm a supporter of you and I feel that you're supportable, I may help you out here or there. I do subscribe to Patreon. I do have a couple people I support on a regular basis because I love the content they do, and I love the work they do, and I think they should be rewarded fairly. Him, not so much. So he was starting to, test his formulas, and you would see like this awesome highlight, or he would have, and don't mind me, I was swatching some stuff for another video I'm doing, but you would see that he was trying to make things. And having seen his apartment set up in prior videos, I was kind of questioning where he was making this stuff at. And as we all suspected, it was in his kitchen or his bathroom, one or the other. And as a former bath and body product maker, I used to have my own company back before I got divorced, where I made bath bombs and, you know, bath fizzies, and sold soap, and actually had a cream that I need to remake because it's very, very nourishing and good for scars, and good for like wrinkles and nourishment. Eventually we get back into it when I have the funds, but right now, no. But having known that, and having done that, I had to have a separate area in my house to do this. I couldn't do it in the kitchen. Sure as hell couldn't do it in the bathroom. And the reason for that is because of contamination and cross-contamination. You have to have a clean space. The FDA here in the US, the Food and Drug Administration, states that if you're going to do things at home, you can be an at-home business, but you have to have a separate space away from other areas in your house that could be dirtied or cross-contaminated. And case in point is there's a company I used to buy from. I'm still not as much as I was because I have so many, but I used to really be into like loose pigments, like stuff like this. In fact, these are from Firenze, which are amazing. But I've been into makeup for so long that I have hundreds of different colors in these, and someday I'll give you guys a tour of everything that I have. But, you know, Firenze, Shiro, both great companies to buy from, by the way. But I knew somebody who had a company who, she ended up getting busted for using soap dyes for eye pigments. And people were getting pink eye. There were concerns that, you know, one girl was almost blinded by it, from what I understand. And she ended up having to do a full recall because the FDA basically said you have to do this, 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 and this because you didn't do this correctly. And basically it devastated her business. And in doing that and watching what she was going through, I learned a heck of a lot. You can't make this stuff in your house, in your kitchen. You can't make it in your bathroom. And the fact that he's moved around so much, it's kind of like, where is he making this stuff at? And then we have this launch, of which I'll get to in a second. Back when I was a fan of his, I had signed up for both the big and little announcements. I checked my email, and I'll put a copy of my email search here that will show you what I was sent. I have 2 emails from January of this year, and then I have one from earlier this week saying that everything was launching. There was no warning before that. Unless you were a fan of his and watched his channel, you didn't know this was coming. So if you weren't on top of his stuff all the time, you would have no idea of knowing. Which is another concern, because there's no marketing going in behind this. I knew that once it actually happened, there was going to be some type of issue with it. Having the fake server overload webpage, come on, dude. And if you guys have any questions, I'm going to put Petty Paige's video down here, and my daughter also confirmed the same thing. You don't have a page that comes up that says server overload. You either get a 404 error or not available. You don't get a page that says server overload. That was a pre-made page that he put up. So there's scamming happening all over the place here, and you know, plus the fact that I did watch the video of the colors and the release, and I gotta give it to you, the girl who was the model, she's drop dead gorgeous. Oh my gosh. I feel bad that she's drank the cookie tea, but it is what it is. And we had to have a color called titties because he was always like, my titties are shook. We had to have a color named titties. Really? We need a little bit more original than that. And then they made one that's the same as Jeffree Star's and like claiming you don't know. Plus, the other thing that irritated me about this was, you know, yeah, it's $24 for this tube, of which the packaging, that packaging is expensive. There's no way, if he's selling that for $24 US, there's no way that he's got that type of packaging, 2 full-size pencils that are quality, and the applicator. And then he has one of these things in there, which are these stupid, this is for the eyeshadows. This is one of those foam things. Can you see it? Hopefully you could see it. My camera is focusing. These are those cheapy foam eyeshadow applicators that, and sorry Christine, I don't mean to shade you, but Christine of Simply Nailogical loves these, but she's using disposable ones, which is a whole nother story. They do have their purpose in makeup, and they are good for if you're foiling or if you're doing some type of a special look where you need a one-time use. They're great. You cannot wash these. You cannot sanitize these. If you try to use these with brush cleaner, they fall apart. Cheap. Why? And then the kicker is the guy who's doing the voiceover for, you know, Dirty Money by Kuckian. Is it me, or does it sound like the dude from SpongeBob that everybody has on their little cut-in placards that say, you know, 3 seconds later or 2 minutes later? It sounded like the same dude. Why? Plus the packaging is like definitely a direct rip of another company I'm not going to name. It's just a cluster. And then the out of stock. How many units did we actually have to sell to be out of stock that fast? I'm sorry, but having seen his past, and having seen his past, the way he's done things, what he said, the games he's played, here's my take of what's going to happen. First of all, the website is so overloaded that we got server errors. And the launch party, I have a feeling the launch party was canceled because he didn't have enough money to either hold the venue or he didn't sell enough tickets to be able to have the party at the venue. I was on my 25-year high school reunion committee, and any venue that we looked at locally, we had to be able to say that there was going to be a minimum of a certain amount of people that were going to be there. We had to guarantee a minimum for food. We had to guarantee a minimum for hours, and we had to sell them for a certain specific price. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to pay the venue on top of covering our own expenses for mailers and everything else. So from that experience, I have a feeling that the issue with the launch party is that the venue has changed or will change because he didn't have enough money to hold the venue. And I get this other feeling that when it's time to ship these, because he's trying to have everything ready to be shipped and received by Christmas, even to the US, there's going to be another glitch. And that glitch is going to be, oh, my samples that came from the factory were perfect. But once it went into manufacturing, it fell below the quality standards that I was expecting, so I can't sell these to you. I can't ship them with a clear conscience. And then there will be a bunch of BS of no refunds because he'll want people to be patient. I'll make it worth your while. Once we get this fixed, I'll send you extra stuff because the money's gone already. I don't see how somebody that was begging for money to the extent that he was begging for it 6 months to a year ago was able to come up with the amount of money needed to make an investment this large to create these makeup items. I don't understand how. And the price point's actually very reasonable, which makes me wonder again, what are we selling? What's the quality behind it? Where is it being made? A lot of companies make their items in the same factories in China. A company that's a big target for this is Morphe. If you go online and you put in a picture of a Morphe palette you will find there are so many different brands out there that look exactly like the Morphe palettes, even right down to the colors. In fact, I have one that I will put a picture in this video that I bought off of Amazon. It's a brand called Delancey. And the colors are gorgeous. It's equivalent to any Morphe palette I own. I own 3. If you put it side by side to, I think it's the 35O, I'll have to double check that number. But if you put it side by side, it's an exact match. So what tells me is it's the same stuff being made in the same factory. They're just putting private label naming on it. So what with private label, if you don't understand how that works, is a company produces multiple items for multiple buyers, and then they will put your product name on it. It's the same thing that happened with his brushes. He bought them cheap from somewhere, had his name hot stamped on them, if they were even hot stamped, because I never really looked into the brushes. I have to look into that a little bit more. But that's what I think happened, is that he ended up having them hot stamped and bought them cheaply from some factory in China that he's never been to, with his claims of, you know, making sure he's watching through every step of the process. So yeah, I think that there's more coming. There's more BS coming. And although I'm not wearing a watch, I'm going to say one of my sayings that I haven't said for a little while. I've never said it on YouTube. But save the watch, because the BS is getting deep. And that's my take. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Again, vote on that name. Tweet me. Instagram me, message me, reply in the comments. Help me get this channel out there. We're up to 48 subs. Can we make 100 by Christmas? You guys would make my new year if we made 100 by Christmas or 100 by New Year's. Please subscribe, share, all that stuff. I don't want to sound like a begging, but I'd really like to keep my channel growing. So anyway, that's my 2 cents worth on this, and hopefully you guys give me some feedback and let me know what you think. Have a great one. Happy Cyber Monday. I am off to work and take care of Cyber Monday customers at my job. Bye. See you next time.